The views and opinions expressed here on Wrestling Winedown are those of the host and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of any other agency, organization, employer, or company. What's up, guys? It's Lo, and you are tuned in to Wrestling Winedown, a female-founded and hosted podcast dedicated to professional wrestling and our favorite adult beverage. Social media gets a lot of flack in terms of the negativity that it brings to people's lives, but I want to say one positive thing, especially within the wrestling community about social media, is that I have been able to find so many awesome and creative women who are absolutely building a brand for themselves and building a community as well. I am honored to be joined by a lovely lady that I actually found on my For You page on TikTok, Shae Cole. Shae has absolutely been dominating the TikTok world. She has built her community, her platform, brick by brick by sharing her knowledge of wrestling while also adding her personality in the mix. Through TikTok, Shae was able to find 4 other women who absolutely love wrestling, and now they've started their own podcast entitled Femme Slam. Shae is spilling the wine on her love of professional wrestling and what has kept her invested in the sport for so many years. Shae is also sharing about her TikTok journey and what inspired her to get on the app and begin creating content, as well as if she had any apprehension with starting to create content about a male-dominated sport such as professional wrestling. Shae also shares with us one of her other interests, which include making wrestling merchandise mock-ups and video compilations of wrestling. And finally, Shae gushes about her girls over at the Femme Slam Pod. She shares how she met the girls over on TikTok, the connection that they've grown through wrestling, and why it means so much to all of them. So grab your favorite glass of bubbly. We're going in for the 3 count. We are back with another episode of Wrestling Winedown. I'm joined by a TikToker. Now, I have to add, before I came on here, I was trying to film this Demure TikTok, and I probably took 25 takes, and I didn't like any of them. So I don't know how you do it. You might have to give me your tips offline, because I'm the TikTok girl. Shae Cole, welcome to Wrestling Winedown. How are you?
Oh my goodness, I'm great. Thank you for having me on.
Let's get right into it. When did you become a professional wrestling fan?
I wish I could say the exact time or year that I became a wrestling fan, but I would say I was a little kid. My great-grandmother got me into wrestling. She got all of her great-grandchildren into wrestling, and we just spent a lot of our time watching, WWE, Memphis wrestling in the mornings. Saturday mornings, Memphis wrestling would be on, and when Memphis wrestling goes off, we would go and watch NWA on ESPN, which really old stuff, very old stuff. And, after she passed away, everyone else kind of moved on from watching wrestling, kind of grew up. But it's still a very big part of who I am because I grew up loving wrestling. So as a way to honor her, I continue to watch wrestling, and I still love it just as much as I loved it when I was a little kid. So it's been several years since childhood, I suppose.
What entertains you and what keeps you interested in professional wrestling? I know a lot of people, they get to be high school age or college age. Even myself, I dropped off a little bit during high school and picked it up in college. But what has kept you entertained about it?
Okay, so the story for me, nowadays we've moved into the era of wrestling where they want to tell very compelling stories. Long-term storytelling has been a thing, made popular by the Bloodline, of course. And I'm just like you, I dropped off in high school around 2013 when CM Punk and AJ Lee took the skedaddle. I was like, listen, those are my people. Those are my faves. They were my hyperfixation at the time. So I was like, okay, what now? And then I quickly got back into it when Seth Rollins started to get in with the Authority. And I was like, okay, Seth, I like you. So I started to get around there with him. And yeah, I just have to always find a wrestler to latch onto, especially if they tell really good stories. So the story is very important to me. just it's equal to the wrestling, of course, the athleticism that they all they showcase, but the story, it keeps me hooked, makes me want more. I'm looking forward to next week. I'm theorizing all the possibilities. That is what keeps me going, what keeps me entertained as a wrestling fan.
Who are some of your favorite wrestlers to watch growing up versus now?
Oh my goodness. Back in the day, I would say Stone Cold Steve Austin, DX. Like, I spent a lot of time on YouTube looking up DX funny moments, watching a lot of DX funny moments. Those were, I would watch them on replay. My mom was so tired of like hearing "suck it" come from my bedroom, and I'm just in there just going through there. I love DX. Shawn Michaels, of course, Triple H. Those were really, really big fans of those wrestlers, John Cena, Randy Orton. I really enjoyed them growing up. Now, it's more so Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns, Naomi, Jey Uso. Very big Jey Uso fan, by the way. I don't know if you've noticed that, but I'm a very big Jey Uso fan. But yeah, my style or my taste in wrestlers have definitely changed a lot. I feel like I relate a little bit more to the wrestlers of today than I did of the wrestlers back then, because we're kind of all around the same age range now. So I can kind of understand what's going on and actually relate and resonate with them a little bit better than I could with, John Cena and D-Generation X back then. Like, yeah, they had the antics and everything, but these guys over here are a whole nother breed, and I kind of vibe with them a lot.
You have taken the wrestling TikTok world by storm. What inspired you to not only get on the app, but start creating content, wrestling-themed content?
It kind of happened randomly, like on accident, actually. I wanted to blame everyone that I followed for all of the Roman Reigns edits that popped up. And the first video that I made was why is there so many Roman Reigns edits on my For You page? I can't take this anymore. I was like so distraught. And that like blew up. And then after that, I was like, okay, cool. So now that you guys are vibing with that, give me the fanfic. So, and that blew up too. And like from there, I guess it clicked for me, because originally I was trying to get into lifestyle TikToks, making stuff like that, because there's a few that I followed that I enjoyed, but it didn't feel like me at all. So I told myself, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna start approaching TikTok as if it's Snapchat and you're on my close friends list. So I apologize for the chaos that happens or anything that comes out of my mouth. I'm treating you like you're my best friend and you're watching me. So I ended up doing a few reactions and like giving my opinions on WrestleMania 40. And that's when everything took off. It started growing as the time went on. I was like, oh my goodness, I have something here. I found my niche, finally found my niche. It all happened on accident, basically.
Did you have any apprehension about starting to create content in a male-dominated sport like professional wrestling?
Oh, for sure. So I, in the real world, I work in a male-dominated field. My previous job was also a male-dominated field. And I always worry about whether or not, the guys are going to accept me as one of their own and not look at me in a different light. And a lot of wrestling fans, male wrestling fans at least, don't take women wrestling fans seriously. And they put us under a microscope that I don't really like. And so usually when they start to talk to me as if I'm, stupid or try to mansplain something to me, I just give them that same attitude back and they're like, whoa.
I thought you were just going to say when they start talking, because I would have still agreed with you.
No, because like even when I'm still talking, I'll still get people in the comment section like, hey, that's this, and this actually. And I'm like, okay, but I was going to say that same thing. You're agreeing with me, but you're choosing not to agree with me because I'm a woman. Mm-hmm. And you would much rather hear it coming from a guy, because a guy can say the same thing that I'm saying right now. And you would agree wholeheartedly. But because I'm a woman, I don't know what I'm talking about. And that, I don't know why, but it enrages me. And so sometimes I start clocking people. When I see it, I'm like, I'm one of you guys. Treat me the same way. I don't want anyone on my page talking to anyone in my comment section as if they're any type of incompetent at all. Like, that's not fair to them. I would much rather, if we're going to correct or inform someone about it, at least be respectful about it. I don't know. I'm really big on respect within the IWC because it's a crazy place. It's a crazy place. So if you don't put your foot down somewhere, they'll just treat you however they want to, really.
Did you have any wrestling TikTokers, specifically women, that you enjoyed watching before you started your own journey on the app?
No, actually. All I did was I followed a lot of TikTok editors, like making editing videos. That's really where it went. And then after I started to get into wrestling content create, I stumbled upon Wheezy, and I enjoyed her content a lot. And then from there, I stumbled upon just a few other like small TikTok, women TikTok content creators. Like the rest of them has been small. We're all on the same path. And so we're all just supporting each other, rooting for each other in ways that, no one else will. All we have is each other. It's important that if one of us eats, all of us at least try to eat. I'm really big on us all supporting each other. Like, we're a community. I made that completely clear that when you are interacting with me, I just want everyone to eat too. Like, content creating, I'm reposting everybody, I'm commenting, I'm liking. I just want to see us all do great, especially as a women content creator. And I've seen a lot of them pop up lately. And I'm so happy because now I'm not alone. And I'm super happy about that. So I'm always rooting and hoping to push anyone to new heights.
Along with sharing your thoughts on wrestling via TikTok, you also dabble in creating amazing merchandise or mock-ups of merchandise, as well as intricate video compilations. Tell me about your creative process behind these two hobbies.
I've been a graphic designer for a little over 10 years, and I started off making book covers for people on Wattpad. And then I went from doing that to music. And so I was making cover arts and wallpapers and stuff for musicians and doing things like that. And then I was like, okay, so let me just try wrestling. And so I started making wrestling posters and t-shirts like that. That was around 2019, I believe. And I think the first notice that I got was from Seth Rollins, and it was during his Beast Slayer era. He kind of like shot a little promo on top of my picture that I tagged him in. I was like, oh, that's so cool. I latch onto a wrestler. And once I latch onto one, they become my muse for a while. And so I just start creating a lot of things around them. For example, I've made a few Jey Uso concepts, like little posters, t-shirt mock-ups. And then I'm slowly starting to move over into Rhea Ripley, an event mommy t-shirt concept that a lot of people really, really like, including Rhea, which was also crazy. I was in the middle of work when she liked that, and I had to stop because I almost cried while I was on the phone. Like in the middle of a meeting, I was like, okay, let me just stop, mute myself, gather myself a little bit, because that's insane. But the same with editing, making videos. I literally started doing that last week. I told myself 3 weeks ago, I was like, I kind of want to learn how to make videos. I think that would be really cool. I want to take a swing at it. And so I had one of my friends on Twitter, shout out Fandom, by the way. I had him kind of give me some recommendations on some things to try. And so I went into that and found my style really quickly, because a lot of my stuff that I like to do is very on the edgy, grungy type side of the spectrum when it comes to making posters, making t-shirt mock-ups and stuff like that. The goal was eventually, hopefully, Triple H will see it and be like, you know what? Let's give this girl a job. Maybe if someone will see it, they'll be like, you know what? Fanatics will love to have you on their t-shirt team for the WWE. I can do that. I can run with them. Just give me a chance if you see any of my stuff. Even posters. I wouldn't mind being on the creative team to make posters for the WWE. And that's one of my goals one of these days. I'm manifesting it, because my entire life is creative art.
You're manifesting right now?
Exactly. My entire life has been the WWE, has been wrestling. So I just want to continue to keep it that way, doing the things that I love, whether it's creating content via TikTok or making things behind the scenes for them. I'll take whatever they give me, really. That's how much I love the game.
Where do you draw inspiration from when you're creating these different pieces?
Music. When it comes to editing, music. There are certain songs that I can listen to and I'll be like, oh my goodness, this is a very Roman Reigns coded song. Or, oh my goodness, I kind of enjoy the way this sounds. I feel like Jey Uso would vibe to this song really hard. With the concept posters, I just randomly get a vision in my head and I'm just like, okay, I need to figure out how to put this to paper. Sometimes I'll get on Pinterest and look around and just kind of like get some inspiration to make sure what I'm seeing in my head actually exists. So I can kind of see it for myself first before I go in doing something crazy. So Pinterest and music definitely are two of my biggest inspirations when it comes to creating any type of wrestling content or any content in general when it comes to, edits and posters.
What has the reaction been like when you share your work on these platforms, whether it's TikTok, Twitter, Instagram? How has the reaction been, and what have been some of your favorite pieces to create so far?
It's actually been insane. I am not used to having a lot of people interact with my stuff. Like I said, I've been a graphic designer for several years. Same with photography. I've been a photographer for several years. And I'm not used to, having so many people interact with me and like, oh my goodness, it's great. I'll probably get like 20 likes here and there back then. But like now it's getting up there to like 500 here, 800 there, 1,200 here. And I'm like, oh, this is crazy. I think my favorite piece though that I've made so far, the most fun, would be the milk carton edit that I made of Jimmy Uso, because where is that man? He's been making me look bad. I've been asking for this man to come back for weeks, and every week he disappoints me by not showing up. And so it's gotten to the point now on Twitter, everyone looks for me to do this, but I slowly zoom in on his face. Each week he doesn't show up. I like crop the milk carton and like zoom in. But that was my favorite piece that I've made. I think that's gotten somewhere around 1,400. The main event mommy one comes really close second. And then the third would definitely be the Solo Sokoa that says, have you acknowledged your tribal chief today? That one's another one that's really popular with a lot of people. It got reactions, of course, from people that are Roman Reigns fans. I myself am a Roman Reigns fan, but at the time, currently, right now, he's not the tribal chief. He's OTC.
You've chronicled on your TikTok being able to find a group of women in this community that also enjoy wrestling. You all host TikTok lives on a weekly basis, and most recently you shared that you all will be starting a podcast in the near future entitled Femme Slam. Can you share how you and these ladies met, as well as what it means to you to be able to have a friend group in this community?
My girls, I love them down in VO. So it started with me and Clarissa C. Marie. We bonded over fanfic, okay? She came into the mix and I was like, give me the fanfic. And she was like, girl, I got all of them. I was like, babe, you're the plug? Hello? She was sending me links. I like got bouquets of links to fanfic. And I was like, okay, so this is the start of the most beautiful friendship. I just want you to know this. And at the time, she wasn't making wrestling content at all. And she was like, oh my goodness, I really enjoy what you're doing. And I want to also get into it, but I'm scared. And I was like, girl, just do it. I will root for you the entire way. I'll repost, like, comment everything that I have to do to get you with me. Because like you have been so accepting and supportive of me. And the least I can do is take you along with me on this ride. Janae and Mex kind of came around the same time. They both were like interacting on our stuff after Clarissa kind of started to pick up speed on content creating herself. And we kind of clicked in the comment section there. That's where we kind of like hung out. We didn't necessarily talk all the time, but like we saw each other in the comment section and we're like, hey, so you're kind of a friend. I'm cool with you. I'm just going to follow you. You're going to follow me. We're going to follow each other. We're going to be friends. And so that happened. And then Haley came through. She was like the last one. And she was interacting on a bunch of my stuff. And we became friends there. And then we all decided, you know what, let's just be super supportive of each other. Let's just make a quote unquote wrestling bloodline, call ourselves the Femme Line. It's what they call us now. They call us the Femme Line. And I was like, listen, we can just all make sure we're eating together at the same time. Like, whenever I do something, I want you guys to at least be a part of it in the discussion. And me and Clarissa, I believe, we click the most. We understand each other a lot. And like to the point where we were talking theories and we both had a revelation at the same time. And girl, it brought tears to my eyes. I'm like, I ain't never cried over someone theorizing with me before. I love you forever. And she was like, we're locked in. There's no going back at this point. Me and you, we're here together. And I was like, okay, this is perfect. And then the same thing happened with Janae and Megs and Haley, and we all laugh and joke all the time. And so I got to the point where I was able to do live streams, and I was like, okay, cool. I want to start doing live streams. And I guess I wanted to do something like Wheezy. And I was like, I wanted to stream while watching wrestling. I don't know. I was like, okay, so I can't do that right now because I don't have the proper equipment. So let's just yap on live. And that's what I did for a while. And then Clarissa ended up getting the opportunity to go live as well. And I was like, oh my gosh, let's do this together. We did this together. Eventually, everyone else was able to go live and we threw everyone else on there. And then the reception from people in our comment section when it came to the live stream was insane. We weren't expecting anyone to like pop in. We were like, okay, 15 people coming to talk with us about wrestling is totally fine. But like, we steadily keep around 40 to 60 people, sometimes 80 people on the live stream every Sunday talking with us. And we'll talk wrestling, we'll recap everything. And then after a while, sleep starting to kick in because we're all old. Conversations, very strange conversations start happening. I start going on this very crazy tangent about Tama Tonga. Love him down so bad. Oh my goodness. The people who watch this, they're going to laugh the moment that I say Tama Tonga. So they know what's up. But we go live every Sunday and the reception has been great. And then people were like, y'all should start a podcast. I have already done podcasting before. I did wrestling. I did a wrestling podcast with a few friends several years back, but that no longer exists. And then I ended up moving over into the Marvel scene, and I did a 1-episode podcast with with one of my best friends, shout out Lynn, called Two Black Girls Walk Into Asgard. And the first episode was a hit, but we got really busy. Corporate life just got a hold of us and we weren't able to do it anymore. But now everyone was like, oh, you should do this podcast. Y'all should make a podcast. We would love to listen to you. We want to support you. And I was like, I don't know, man. I've done it too many times. You're going to have to give me the 30,000 likes on this live stream in order for me to even consider it. And I didn't think it was possible because, listen, we get maybe 1,000 likes. We got 30,000 that night. I was sitting up there, arms folded, puffing and a puffing. I was like, y'all got me. Y'all got me. So one of the girls in the comment section said, I just want you to know my thumbs hurt, but we got you here. And I was like, okay, well, I guess I got to dust off the mic. Like the mic's been sitting off in a closet collecting dust. And I was like, okay, well, I guess I'm dusting this off and let me go ahead and draft up a logo and get all this other stuff going. And everyone was like, yay, we're so happy we get to do a podcast. I was like, okay, but we got to do this right because I can't be the only one. Because like every time we did podcasts, I was the one that was editing. I made the cover arts. I was the one that thought of what to do on episodes. And the beautiful thing about these women, they want to help out. Like they are my village. They were like, oh my goodness, teach me how to edit. I'll edit for you. I want to help with promotions. We can create pages. We can do this, we can do that. And I was like, oh my goodness, I've never had anyone want to just take that load off before. I was mentally preparing myself to do this because I do everything. That's just who I am. The Capricorn in me has to have control of everything.
Oh, you're a Capricorn. Okay, I was trying to figure out your sign. I'm an Aquarius.
I'm a Capricorn with a Virgo rising. So I got to be in control of everything. If not, I will have the worst mental breakdown in the history of mental breakdowns. That's how it goes. So when they were like, we want to help, I was like, you know what? War is over. y'all can help if you want to. Just do what you have to. I'm super happy. So I'm forever grateful to have them. Like, we all were giving each other flowers last night on live. And it was such a beautiful experience, especially seeing a bunch of women in the comment section saying that we helped them get back into wrestling and we helped create a safe space for them to want to communicate and be who they are and fangirl the way they want to and talk about wrestling the way they want to. And it moved Clarissa to tears. She cried twice. She's going to kill me for saying this, but she cried twice. And it made me so happy because, like, we all came from a background where we didn't really have anyone to talk wrestling with. I grew up, didn't really have anyone to talk wrestling with. She grew up, didn't really have anyone to talk wrestling with. So, like, now that we kind of have this community of people that we can talk wrestling with.
Dang, you got my eyes watering, girl.
It's the craziest thing to happen. And we got something beautiful here, I feel. And I constantly say all of this happened by accident. And Clarissa and Janae and Megs and Haley will all pop in and be like, actually, nothing happens by accident. Everything happens for a reason, girl. And I'm like, I suppose you're right about that. I suppose you're right. But I'm just not used to such a crazy reception. Like, this is just beyond amazing. So I'm just super blessed, super grateful to have them, to have all the people that root for us, that's cheering for us, that's supporting us. Like, I'm just a normal girl. So when people are like, oh, I'm a really big fan, I'm like, I'm just a normal girl. Please.
I'm literally just a girl.
I'm literally just a girl. I'm still figuring this all out. Like, I'm just a girl. And they're like, I understand that, but you're such an inspiration. I'm like, girl, the way I be talking about Tama Tonga is not inspiring at all. Because I love that man down bad. Okay. But, you know, that's the fun of being a female wrestling fan. Everyone agrees we don't look crazy to ourselves, which is perfect. Like, the guys are terrified with the way we talk about wrestling, but it's okay. It's not for them. It's for us. It's for us. What we do is for us, for the girls. We're for the girls. Femme Slam Podcast.
What can listeners expect from tuning into your TikTok lives or even the upcoming Femme Slam podcast?
A lot of chaos. That's what we're chaotic. We like to crack jokes. Like, a lot of the time, my main thing is making people laugh. I love making people laugh. That's what I do the most. So making people laugh is one thing. We're going to also try to dive into different aspects of wrestling, like talking about the stories, breaking down, you know, the wrestlers. There's one episode we're working on. It's going to be our first episode, I believe. It's going to be us just talking about Jimmy and Jey Uso and basically their booking, because that's been a conversation that's been had so much over the last year since Jey became main event Jey Uso, and, you know, Jimmy stuck around with the bloodline. And so that's going to be our first episode. We're going to talk about that. We're just going to talk about things that no one else wants to talk about, or the things that people talk about, but will get attacked for, I suppose. With the podcast, we'll be able to have our conversations about it. We'll also be able to be completely unbiased in the way that we talk about things, because that's important. We want to give our faves praises, but we also want to be like, okay, so this is something that they're probably not doing right, or this is something that we wish that we can see from them. But that's kind of like an insight of what we would be talking about. Just expect some laughs, expect, you know, great conversations. Like we tell everyone on our live, this is basically a FaceTime video. You're just listening to 5 friends talk about wrestling. We want to still keep it that way. Even when we have guests, we want to tell them, hey, go ahead and kick your shoes off. If you got a snack, pull it to the side. You're our friend for this conversation. I just want you to know this. You are our best friend. We haven't seen you in a long time, and we're just catching up. So feel free to just be goofy with us. As long as you are able to be your most authentic self when you're talking to us, that's all that matters.
I love that. I'll definitely be tuning in.
I appreciate that.
Looking back on your TikTok journey thus far, how does it feel to see the community that you've been able to build?
It's insane. Like I said before, I still see myself as just a regular person. I still see myself as just someone that's talking about wrestling. So when people come through, I'm just like, oh, thank you. We're going to continue doing this. We're going to continue making this a safe space and an open, welcoming community for everybody. And we already are trying to see about WrestleMania 41. We kind of want to do a meetup with a bunch of people if time allows it, because there's going to be a lot of things going on that weekend.
Oh, yeah, girl.
But if time allows it, we definitely want to maybe, I don't know, do like a brunch or something. Because I love the brunch. Brunch is love. Brunch is life.
I feel that.
So we're considering doing something, some type of meetup, maybe a brunch. We have a community, a great community. Everyone is insanely nice and really sweet. And even the guys that are in the community, they're very supportive and they're always ready to give everyone their flowers. If someone weird pops up in the comment section, they're there to kind of like defend. And that's also really beautiful. I'm just forever grateful for what we have.
What advice would you share with another woman who is looking to enter into content creation, specifically on TikTok?
Just be yourself. There's going to be a lot of people online that you're going to want to be like, but the person you should be like the most is yourself. You don't want to take off a mask when you turn off the camera. You want to be the most authentic version of yourself, at least. I mean, hell, I'll show up without a wig on most of the time on there. Wig, no makeup, none of that. I'm completely myself on TikTok. Make sure it's something that you love. Don't do something because you think it's gonna get you likes and followers and fame or popularity. Do it because you have the knowledge of it or because you love it. That's very important, because if you love what you do, you'll never get tired of it. And luckily in this community, there's always something going on to create content off of. That's the beautiful thing about the Wrestle Talk community. There's always something going on. There's always new things being done, new trends. Wrestlers are doing things. You know, the WWE is starting to interact with a bunch of us. So there's always something to do. So if you aspire to be in the WWE world of content creating, or just in the wrestling content creation world, period, just go in, do what you want to do, talk about what you want to talk about. If you feel like you're not knowledgeable on something, just watch something, I guess, and make sure that you are. That way you have the best experience, because the IWC is insane. The IWC is usually like the red flag for a lot of people when it comes to wanting to be, you know, in the wrestling community. Oh, how can I get here? How can I do this? I'm like, listen, you can join, but make sure you are careful what you say, because there's people that will ambush you from all sides. You got to have the thickest skin in the IWC, the thickest skin. Either that or be extremely nonchalant, one or the other. Just follow your dreams, do what you want, be you. That's the most important part. Just be you.
Thank you, Shae, so much for joining me here on Wrestling Winedown. Where can the people keep up with you on social media?
Okay, so you can find me on Instagram at Shae Cole Official. That is SHAECOLE Official. Or you can find me on TikTok at Aisha Not Isha. You can also find me on Twitter at OOSOSpooky, which is OOHSOSPOOKY. Small disclaimer, I am a tad bit more unhinged there than I am on TikTok, so you've been warned. You can also find my graphic design page on Instagram at oosospooky.tv, so OOHSOSPOOKY.tv, where you can find me. Come say hi. Let me know if you come from TikTok. Let me know if you come from the Wrestling Winedown podcast. I will be the happiest person when you say hello to me, I promise.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Wrestling Winedown. You can find all of our other episodes available wherever you listen to your podcasts, including Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Play, and iHeartRadio. We are on Twitter and Instagram at WWDCAST. We also have our official merch store, which you can find at shop.wrestlingwinedownlv.com. Let us know what you thought about this episode. What was your favorite part? Until next time, enjoy your wine and, of course, enjoy your wrestling. Cheers!